Hey guys, so for today's video I wanted to talk about keeping birds as pets, things that you should know about birds before you choose to purchase one, because they're a lot more work. What are you doing? Because they're a lot more work than people would think they are normally, and birds, I don't know, people buy birds without really knowing what they're getting themselves into. So be sure to watch this video first. Also, on my watch this video before getting a pet rabbit video, a lot of people were commenting and saying like, oh, this isn't true, blah blah blah, like I have a rabbit and this isn't true what you're saying. So keep in mind, a lot of the things I'm saying, most of them are true for a fact, but some of them might be just based on my experience with my birds, and they might not be the case 100% of the time, but pretty much everything I'm saying most of the time will be the case. The first thing that you need to realize before getting a pet bird is how long they live. A lot of birds live, like if you're getting a parakeet or something, they might live from like 5 to like, let's say 20 years-ish. It depends what kind of bird you're getting specifically. Some birds will live like 5 or 10 years, some birds will live 15, 20 years, some birds 30 years. Some birds will live as long as like 50 or 60 years. And you just need to realize that that's how long you're committing to having this bird. Because birds will bond with you, and if you've had the bird for like 10 years and then you decide you don't want it anymore, it's already like bonded with you, and it's kind of cruel to just like give up a bird after you've already had it for 10 years. It's like giving up a dog after you've had it for 10 years. It's just kind of messed up, but a lot of people don't realize how intelligent birds are and that the fact that they actually do bond with you. And a lot of people don't really realize how long birds live, or they do know and they're like, yeah, I want a bird for 50 years. But then they realize that like 20 years later, they're like, you know what, this is like kind of like, I'm bored of this, like I don't want to do this anymore. So then they give it up, and it's just kind of like cruel, you know? So keep in mind how long you're gonna have that bird for before you buy it. Going on to the next thing is birds require a certain amount of attention every day. Birds in the wild live in flocks and they bond with each other, and you just need to play with your bird and make sure you're giving them the attention they need, because birds do need a few hours at least of one-on-one time every day. And if you can't give your bird that one-on-one time, you do need to look into probably getting at least 2 birds that you can keep together so that they can keep each other company. But either way, you should really have time for your bird to take them out and, you know, socialize them and everything, because that's what they need. That's what they naturally do in the wild, is they're with other birds and they're socializing. And those are the 2 major like deal breakers, is like you need to give your bird a lot of attention. If you don't give your bird attention and you neglect your bird, they can get stressed out and they can like pluck their feathers out, and they can literally like die if they're too stressed out. They'll stop eating, they'll pluck out their feathers, and if it's not that extreme, then they'll probably like get mad at you for neglecting them, and they'll start to become more aggressive towards you. And once you lose your bird's trust, it's kind of difficult to regain the bird's trust. If you can't handle giving your bird proper care and attention, and you don't want the bird for like as long as it lives, probably don't get a pet bird. And you also need to keep in mind that birds, you obviously have to keep it in a cage, but you need to make sure you get a big enough cage for your bird. Whatever bird you're getting, you just need to look up how big of a cage you need. A lot of like macaws and stuff, you need like a very nice sized cage, and they're very big and expensive. And not only that, but birds make a mess. Birds will like fling their food outside of their cage, they poop a lot, and it's just like a lot of work to keep it clean. Another thing is you need to get your bird's beak and nails clipped every once in a while, like a few times a year. It depends on the bird and everything, but you need to get the nails clipped and the beak clipped, because they don't stop growing and birds don't wear them down enough when they're kept in captivity, so you do need to do that. And you also have to provide your bird with lots of toys and stuff, and optionally, some people, this is controversial kind of, but some people like to get their bird's wings clipped so that they can't fly. It doesn't hurt the bird, but some people feel like it's not natural and it's like just like kind of cruel to do. You guys can like do your own research and form your own opinion on it. Another thing to keep in mind before getting a pet bird is they aren't necessarily child friendly. If you have little kids in the house, I probably wouldn't recommend having a bird, or at least I wouldn't let your child handle the bird too much. If you're closely supervising them, it's usually okay. But something to keep in mind also is that birds bond with like one or two people, and then a lot of the time they're kind of aggressive towards everyone else. This is one of those things where it depends on the bird specifically, because all birds have their own personalities. Mango is nice to me and is just mean to everyone else. Like, if you go by his cage, he'll literally like be like this, like trying to look all aggressive and like he's gonna kill you. Like, he does not like many people. And you have to keep that in mind with birds, is like he might love you, but if your friends want to handle him or whatever, like, it's probably not going to be a thing that happens. And if you have a child, you just need to make sure the bird isn't going to hurt the child, especially if you have a macaw, like a larger bird. Like, they bite very hard and their beaks are very sharp and they will like break skin, and they can like, they're very powerful. So like, you do not want to give a child like a miniature macaw or like a large macaw, like, and even Mango bites really hard and would hurt a child significantly. So keep that in mind. Also, like smaller birds like parakeets and stuff, they are very fragile. All birds are very fragile. Like, if a kid, you know, I don't know what a kid would do, like, but if a kid hurts a bird, like, they can do a lot of damage. So that's just something to keep in mind, but it's usually probably okay if they're closely supervised. But in general, birds aren't necessarily, I wouldn't consider them very child friendly. Like, if you want a child friendly pet, get like a dog or a cat or something, or like a fish maybe. But like a bird probably isn't like, hey, here, I'm gonna get my 5-year-old kid a pet bird. Like, no, like, that's probably not like the best idea. Another thing you need to keep in mind is birds are very loud. Mango is a small bird, but a very loud bird. And larger birds, like my severe macaw for example, is significantly louder than Mango. And then if you get like a full-on like large macaw, like a blue and gold macaw or whatever, they're very loud and like annoying if you don't know what you're getting yourself into. Mango is like very loud, like piercing scream, like a lot, like he's pretty quiet a lot of the time. Birds are quiet a lot of the time if you're giving them attention and if you're giving them the care that they need, and like if you give them a lot of attention, they will be pretty quiet. But they do scream sometimes. Like, dogs bark, cats meow, birds scream at the top of their lungs, and it's like piercing and it hurts your ears. They feel like they're gonna start bleeding. So, like, I would recommend going to like a bird store and like chilling there and hanging out with the birds for a while and like getting to know how loud they are, because it is a thing. And smaller birds, they might not be as loud, but they still make a lot of noise, and like often too. So it's just something to keep in mind, that if you're gonna get annoyed by like screaming happening once in a while, like if you're trying to talk to someone and you're in the same room as a bird, chances are a lot of the time the bird will start screaming and like interrupt your conversation because the bird wants the attention from you. But when your bird screams, like, you do not want to run over and give it attention either, because that promotes screaming and it's like giving them positive reinforcement saying, hey, if I scream, he'll give me attention. So you want to ignore your bird when he's screaming, which is the most annoying thing because they'll keep screaming. But then after they've stopped for a while, then you can go give them attention, because then they're like, okay, when I'm quiet, then he'll come and talk to me. Overall, you just need to do your research before you get a bird. A lot of people just kind of do it on impulse and jump in and get a bird or whatever. People do it with a lot of pets. They get pets on impulse without doing the proper research, and then they're like, what did I get myself into? Because a bird is a cool pet. Like, a lot of people get mad at me for making these videos because they feel like I'm just totally bashing like having animals as pets, and I'm just saying, wow, birds suck, like, don't do it. Like, birds are great pets. Like, they bond with you, they're very friendly, they can be friendly, and I don't know, they're very intelligent animals to have. And you can like train them to do cool things and like all that stuff. They're really cool, but you just need to make sure you can give them the time and care and everything that they need. Also, if you have a pet bird and you have any questions, or if you have a pet bird and you can offer advice to anyone in the comments, please feel free to do so. Alright, so I hope this helped you with your decision-making process with getting a bird. And also make sure to go online and do a lot of research. So if you like this video and if it helped you, please give it a thumbs up. Also give it a thumbs up for Mango, because Mango would be happy if you gave this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel also. I put out 2 videos a week. Also, don't forget to check out my social media. The links to those will be in the description below. And I'll see you guys next week.
Well, there's no way